welcome everyone to this first edition of the Dev Tapes. This video will cover the Too Long Didn't Read of our Dev Update blog post. So today we're bringing in a few guests that are going to present upcoming changes in design, UI, and animation for the PTB early next week. So here we go. All right, so welcoming Sarah, lead UI designer on DBD. All right, Sarah, big
Hi.
changes. Big changes coming for the UI.
Yeah.
First off, let's start. Why are we changing the UI in the next update? And what are we changing?
So when players log in to the PTB for the first time and start their match, the biggest change that they're going to notice is that we've completely redesigned the layout of the HUD. This means that the position of some of the elements that you're used to are no longer in the places that they were before this update. Essentially, what we've done is we've broken each of our pieces of our UI, which we refer to as widgets, into their own section so that they have their own space. We had reached a point with the UI where our current live UI was no longer able to support all of the features that we wanted to add from the game design team. So we needed to find a place to give each of these UI elements a new home that had enough room for us to add animations and visual effects, as well as any new pieces of information and features.
All right. Do you want to tell us a few examples of what we can expect in the new UI changes?
Yeah, we have a couple new features that you'll notice. The biggest and most obvious one is probably hook counts. We now have a separate widget for killers, which displays the number of times you have hooked players in the match. This is a positive way of displaying a killer's progress in the match. Previously, we found that for killers, the only sense of any gameplay change that they got was the generator count slowly counting downwards, and this of course doesn't feel very good if you're a killer. So we wanted to give them something that they can feel proud of and look back and see their progress throughout the match. For survivors, they have their own version of this, which is displayed on the actual player status widget. This tells your fellow survivors how many times your teammates have been hooked. This way you can know whether or not it's worth it to go in for that save or not, as well as giving you a general idea of how your team is doing overall. Another feature that we have is the healthy and injured states for players have been replaced with portraits of those characters. So from at a glance, you'll be able to see who's playing as Claudette, who's playing as Nia, which Dwight is in the closet, exactly.
All right. I think there's one more thing as well that has been asked forever, and you're very happy about. I
I
can
am
see it.
thrilled to announce this one. Along with this update, we are releasing two new settings which allow players to control the scale of their menus and HUD. So no longer will your UI scale be determined by your screen resolution. You can control it yourself.
All right, so just to wrap this up, this new UI change is allowing us some space for new awesome features in the future. Did you have anything else to add, Sarah?
Yeah, so we know this is a big change. It's gonna take us all a little bit of time, I think, to get used to the new placement. That's natural and expected part of any change. We've all been looking at this particular HUD for 5+ years at this point, so there's going to be a period of adjustment. However, this new layout is going to allow us a lot more breathing room to add new features and expand what we can do for you guys in the future.
Awesome. So this is not the final form. That's what you're saying.
No, we have lots of new ideas that we're excited to share with you guys in the next couple months and years to come. Uh, can't really talk about it, much of it right now, but we are excited to share it all with you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Sarah.
Happy to be here.
So, welcoming Ethan, game designer on Dead by Daylight. Hello, Ethan, and welcome. Ethan, we're closing up on the PTB release, so do you want to tell us what's in store for the clown?
Yes, this is actually the first moment we're actually confirming that the clown update is going to be in this PTB. And so I can talk a little bit more about that teaser trailer that Dylan showed us a while ago. The purple bottles are staying the same. So you can play clown the way you're used to. You throw a purple bottle, people get intoxicated, they slow down, you can hit them. You can switch to throwing yellow bottles and they have no effect until they turn yellow. So the gray cloud is like a placeholder until it turns yellow and activates. Any player entering a yellow cloud gets extra movement speed for a period of time. So it's called the afterpiece antidote. And if you're intoxicated by a purple cloud and hit a yellow one, then it will remove that effect. And we're not just changing those bottles, we're also going to reduce the amount of time it takes to reload. That's going to be 3 seconds now. Yay, everybody cheer. Yay, I can hear it. I can hear it.
So, Ethan, what was the idea with adding a new type of gas to the clown's kit?
Well, we wanted to increase potential for interesting plays with him, and we already like the way the purple bottles work, so we thought let's give him 2 bottles. And since the purple ones are you throw it someplace and it says you don't want the survivors to go there, so you put a negative. The opposite would be you put a bottle someplace where you would like it if survivors went there, so you give them an encouragement. So if there's a dead end over here and there's a pallet over here, you throw a yellow here, and then the survivor's like, do I go for the pallet or do I go for the yellow? Which is better? And it makes a little bit more cognitive load for the players. And then if the clown gets in there, then he is also going to pick up some extra speed. So it's to create more interesting gameplay around him.
All right. So remember when we tested the skill-based matchmaking back in summer? Well, it's coming back. Ethan, you have more info.
Yeah, so the matchmaking system is no longer going to be based on your rank. It's going to be based on back-end calculated skill rating. And one of the great things about this is it means that each killer you play will have a different setting for this. So if you're like an absolutely amazing hillbilly player and you destroy everybody, and then you say, I want to learn how to play nurse, and you're terrible with her at the moment, you're not going to be playing against rank 1 survivors while you're trying to figure out how to play the nurse. So it's going to be better for survivors. It should be better for killers. And because of this, we now need something to do with ranks. So as soon as the new matchmaking system goes live, we will be switching ranks to be a reward system where, depending on the highest rank you reach during the month, you will get blood point rewards. And then at the end of each month, your rank will reset to 20, and you'll build your way back up again. And just to be clear, your rank is not going to determine your matchmaking. So when we reset you to 20, it's only for the rewards, not for who you get put into games with.
All right. So those rank rewards, they're also separated between killer and survivor. So you can basically get those rewards twice if you
Absolutely.
get to high ranks on both.
Yep.
Awesome.
Okay.
Okay, so I've heard that the clown is not the only one getting changes. Do you wanna add a little bit on this?
I would love to. We've got true invisibility coming up for the Wraith, which means that if you are more than 24 meters from him, you can't see him at all, not even a little bit. But once he gets within 16 meters, you will see the shimmer that you see now. And between 24 and 16, it will increase from being nothing to what you see now. So you will no longer be able to see the Wraith off in the distance on the map with his little shimmer bobbing around. Another thing that we're fixing is the Trapper's traps. I don't know how many of you have done the math, but if you have a 25% chance to escape from a trap, That's only like a 60% chance to escape in the first 4 times. It's around 60. Somebody's going to quote me on it being wrong because it's 63 or whatever, but
Around
it's
that. Yeah.
it's around that. And you have a 10% chance of still being in the trap after like 10 attempts. It doesn't feel good. So we've changed it so that now it will take 1 to 6 attempts. When you step in the trap, we choose whether it be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, and then that's how many times it will take. So it's never going to take more than 6. This does mean that your rough chance of escaping each time is 16%. So the first attempt is going to be a little less likely, but it will never go to the long tail on the other side either. So on the whole, it's going to be better for everybody.
All right, Ethan, so we're changing a couple of perks in this update. Do you want to go over what we're touching?
Yeah, sure. We have a list, and it includes diversion, also known as Pebble, fixated, Hex Undying, Iron Maiden, Open Handed, and Second Wind. This is a list of perks we said we were going to update soon a while back on a dev stream, and they have made it through the pipeline, and here they are.
All right. Introducing Guillaume, game designer on Dead by Daylight. Welcome in, Guillaume.
Hi, Gab. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you. Guillaume is here today to discuss the upcoming animation changes. Can you explain to us why we're changing these animations?
Yeah, after 4 years, almost 5, we felt that the game needed animation side. We needed to update those animations, just like give a visual update and a bit of love to these system as well. Not only the animation themselves, but the systems to be able to support any other features moving forward. So we updated some of the animation and mostly the locomotion for survivors.
All right. So can you give us some example of what's coming?
Well, basically it's the locomotion. So the idle stance of the art tractors, both male and female, the run, the walk, the crouch, the injured state, but also transition when you move from one direction to another. We added those transition. Also a new crawling animation with new turns and a recover animation.
So when we're talking survivor locomotion, what kind of gameplay change should we expect with these changes?
In terms of gameplay, actual gameplay, it should have not changed at all. I mean, that's the idea, and that's the reason why there's a game designer talking about it as opposed to an animator, because it's mostly animation work, technical animation. But one of the goals was to not change the actual gameplay and how locomotion and navigation works in terms of speeds, turn rates, accelerations, and things like that. But we definitely wanted to improve the looks, change the stance, the way the character moves in terms of body movement and aesthetics.
All right. And so we're talking about locomotions, which normally would be in movement, right? Are other animation also changed? For example, cleansing totem, entering lockers, I don't know, throwing a pebble, teabagging, things like that.
Most of them no, because they're interactions, and we did not touch interactions because this is, again, it's a different topic. It has a heavy impact on gameplay, and this is something else for the future. Though, like teabagging, for example, which is crouching, which is a locomotion, kind of a gameplay. We did update that animation. Well, actually, before there was no animation at all. It was just a blending. So we put in an animation and we kind of iterated on it to make sure that teabagging still feels satisfying to our players. We did change that, but it should play the same.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Guillaume. And I think that's the awkward moment where we say bye. Please don't keep that.